Good afternoon, and welcome to this continuing series of videos on conflict resolution, sponsored by the Cooper Druin Companies. In our earlier videos, we talked about the fact that conflict does not arrive unannounced, that it has warning signs. And one of those early warning signs we also talked about was the disagreement, and the fact that that was the best opportunity to prevent conflict from either arising or escalating. So what happens when you don't take advantage of resolving it at the disagreement stage? Well, we arrive at the argument. Now, the use of the word argument is not as it would be used by, say, an engineer or a lawyer who constructs a reasoned explanation supported by data and information, presenting an argument in a logical way. In a conflict environment, an argument represents a breakdown of communication, where one side or the other begins to build fortifications around their point of view. At the point they are reached the argument stage, they are no longer interested in listening to the other side's point of view. They are too busy trying to defend their side of the argument, trying to make it understood that theirs is the better side, that they have the high ground. And this is where communications begins to break down in a serious way. Now, there's still a chance here for the parties to step back and look at alternatives to resolving the argument, which is now becoming a full-blown dispute or argument that could lead to a dispute. And this is also the point where often a third party, i.e. the supervisor or the manager, is called in. Now, if the supervisor or manager is aware of what needs to be done, he'll send them back to the table and require them to start looking at alternatives. But if that supervisor or manager is at all pressed for time, he may decide. He may choose one side or the other. At that point, you have a winner and a loser. And the cohesion of the organization begins to break down, because part of that organizational structure, the team, the department, whatever it might be, you now have people who have the upper hand and people who don't. They no longer feel that they are equal contributors because they have lost the argument with a boss or a supervisor. And this is an environment which can quickly lead to further escalation in the potential conflict that could arise. It's important to emphasize at this point that an argument, while difficult to overcome, still represents a better opportunity to resolve conflict before a supervisor or a manager involves himself or herself in the decision-making process. Because ultimately when that happens, that department, that team is damaged. And going forward, it'll be hard for them to move forward in a constructive manner. The side that wins is always going to have an advantage, and the side of that argument that lost is always going to feel at a disadvantage. At that point, it can quickly escalate into a dispute, which is in itself a much more difficult set of circumstances to overcome. So I want to thank you for listening to us this afternoon. And if you have any questions about conflict resolution, please feel free to go to our website, cdci-mediation.com, or call us directly at 832-452-8537. We'd be happy to speak with you. Thank you for your attention.